We are live. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to another episode of Embrace Your Edges. I am Hillary here in Ontario, Canada, and joining me tonight is fan favorite Rudy, all the way in the NYC. Hey, Rudy.
Hey,
All right. Well, I got my 19 crimes because, I got to get the wind up because Rudy's in. and we're going to be talking about the disparity in the justice system, rich versus poor, blue collar versus white collar crimes. And, is there fairness? Is there an injustice? Let's talk about it. So, you know, too far often, money or lack thereof can be a deciding factor in the courtroom. So capitalism, for me, I think, plays a big part in this. In that, when it comes to those that do commit blue collar crime, are normally those dealing with a lower income and or don't have access to that 1% money. Okay. And so I always give the example of Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom or Uncle Bob goes to jail for a very long time. He's an alcoholic or, addicted to some kind of drug and or has a certain behavior based on his economic background or his conditioning. Goes into prison, gets rehabilitated, comes back out, goes back to the family, and Uncle Bob is no longer funny. He is now rehabilitated and trying to do his best. But Uncle Bob tried to get a job, and guess what? Nobody will hire him because he has a criminal record. Okay? So, after a while, Uncle Bob feels the strain from his family. He also feels the strain from society. And at some point, 95%, I think, is or 92%, they say, will commit the crime again and end up back in the same system. Is that something that is created or is it avoidable? So we're going to go through some context about it. Rudy came up with this topic. Okay, Rudy was like, I'll be on the show if you talk about justice, blue collar versus white collar. So, Rudy, what's your concept about this whole topic?
uh, cause since I came, well, first of all, when I first came to this country, I wanted to study some law,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized the disparities between the wealthy, the middle class, and the
Mm,
poor class.
yeah.
And if you're poor, you gotta sometimes, if your family can't afford a lawyer, you gotta have a public defender.
Mm-hmm.
The middle class, they will have to get a lawyer, but the rich class, sometimes they don't even see a day in court.
Yes.
So
Mm.
that is what made me think about this topic
Yeah.
tonight,
Yeah.
and so forth. And I know a lot of people are interested in this topic too, because I'm sure there's every part of this corner of social life. Somebody somewhere had a family member or know someone that been through the court system somewhere
Yes.
up and down the line, whether
Yes.
they're rich or poor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good topic. We'll see what the people have to say,
Yes.
and we go from there.
Yes. And the legal system, it serves as a means to uphold fairness, supposed to be fairness and protect rights as well as maintain social order. But the troubling reality is that the system often operates with a gearing disparity, as you said, between the rich and the poor. And, there is that piece of the profound difference between in the justice system based on the social economic status of the individual and the inequalities
Hmm.
that happen in the legal system, whether, as you say, representation or access to resources or the overall outcome of the legal process proceedings. So let's shed some light on it. We're going to start with first talking about the unequal legal representation. So, getting a lawyer. How do you feel about that? How do you feel like rich versus poor, or even middle class? Because right now, middle class, I don't even think there's a middle class anymore. I think it's
Either
rich
you're rich or you're poor.
and you poor. Okay, that's it. So how do you feel about the kind of free legal advice that's offered, or the legal advice that's offered to a rich individual versus a poor individual?
Well, legally, sometimes the poor, they go to court, they get a
Hmm.
public defender.
Yes.
Sometimes the public defender doesn't have all the resources
Hmm.
that a rich lawyer or the knowledge of a rich lawyer,
Hmm.
because most public defenders are lawyers right out of college
Yes.
or graduate school. They're
Hmm.
just trying to get their feet wet in the court system to learn, the ins and outs and their way up. But
Yeah.
the service is not the same.
Yes.
Most public defenders are you base them see them in the local poor neighborhoods.
Hmm.
Every system, I guess, have a public defender because everybody can't afford a lawyer.
Yeah.
Lawyers are not cheap,
And they sometimes they call it
you
pro
know.
bono.
Yes, but
Yeah.
the rich people now, they got lawyers just sitting in the offices waiting,
Waiting.
just waiting
Yeah.
for them. Yeah,
And,
just waiting.
and you know what's so
You
interesting is
know,
that when you see a person that is, have lower income, and they go, "Oh, I'm going to call my lawyer," automatically you're like, "You got a criminal record," because
exactly.
the reality is you having a certain income level, you do not have a lawyer sitting there waiting for your phone call.
Waiting for you to call a phone call.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So that's
yeah. And I find too that what happens is that when it comes to bails and bonds and negotiations, the public defender is just want to get the case off their load. They're not really looking at your best interests. I'm not saying all
and
public defenders now. Nobody don't write me. I'm just saying the majority.
majority. And another part with the public defender,
Yeah.
they like to plead bargain too much.
Yes.
And
And that's because they're new.
yeah,
That's because they're new, and they're probably
they like
intimidated
to
by the
plead
older
bargain.
ones. Huh?
I would never plead bargain the case if I know I'm innocent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
But then you have the other part of the system, well, in the police,
that's
and
against you.
yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so you have an individual who's afraid already, and either have a criminal record or not, and they're told, if you don't take this deal, you're going to get a bigger sentence, and not knowing the law, not knowing their rights or whatever, agree to a certain outcome. There's so many cases, and they're seeing them, especially through the pandemic. A lot of cases came up that where the person was actually innocent, or
Innocent.
yeah, or the crime, the punishment did not fit the crime. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I previously worked in the criminal justice field, and I know for a fact there was a man inside of the prison that was in there for 25 years for stealing a bicycle.
Stealing a bicycle?
Stealing a bicycle. That was his third strike. Okay, now if and then when you listen to the whole story behind why he stole the bicycle, any judge, I mean, they could have really you know figure something out. But 25 years of a person's life, that is ridiculous. So
I
yeah, that's I don't know. I I get it. We have to.
I'll tell you a true story.
Hmm.
And this happened. I think it happened in Philadelphia or somewhere.
Yeah.
This happened a couple of years back. There were two young kids,
Hmm.
one black, one white,
Yeah.
committed the same exact crime.
Hmm.
The same judge,
Hmm.
give the black kid jail time,
Mm.
and the same judge give the white kid probation.
Wow.
And these were the exact same crimes that happened.
Wow.
Nobody was killed, but it's the same crime they committed.
Wow.
So that's why the system
Hmm.
is geared to keep a minority down.
Hmm.
If you really look at it,
Yeah.
if you're not in the uppity class,
Minority
minority
and the poor.
and the poor,
Hmm.
and even if you're minority, but you're in that upper class,
Yeah.
You're still going to get railroad somewhere down the line. The system is not geared correctly.
Yeah. I mean,
You
the
know,
wealthy
it's
has
not an
the
equal system.
yeah, the wealthy does have that means of hiring a top tier lawyer with extensive, as you said, extensive expertise and resources to make sure that their case are presented in a very detailed manner with particular attention to detail. And but on the other hand, individuals that are from lower economic, social economic backgrounds, they often struggle with securing a competent legal person, as you say, and this is the financial restraints that happens within the justice system. The imbalance is very obvious, and the skills of and the quality of the legal aid, for example, legal aid. I don't know what legal aid ain't no aid.
Legal aid is no aid. Trust me.
Legal aid is no aid. And you know what's so interesting is that I know there'll be some people watching this show, this episode, and they will say something like, well, they need not to commit a crime. Let me show you how crime happens, okay? There's something called conditioning. And if you look at any rural area, in any urban community, any city, you will notice that the quote unquote projects is placed in the center of the city and surrounded by the middle class and the wealth, okay? And that's why when they had this whole new thing of taking over a lot of the project buildings, it wasn't that hard to do. You know why? Because they're already there. It was already in that kind of area. It's now an expansion of the wealth, expansion. Hi, baby Eiffel, welcome, welcome. An expansion of the area. So what happened is you have the projects in the middle, and you have the middle class, and then you have the upper class on the outside. And so when I look through my window, what am I seeing? I'm seeing everything I can't get. And no
Exactly.
access
Yes.
to it. And so it creates that, if I'm not going to give it to you, you can't earn it, and if you earn it, I'm going to make it really hard for you to get there. So then you have people either within your community or outside your community saying to you, I can get you the same thing right there, but just do this, and without a support system and with a broken family, it happens. And it's a continuous circle, and that's why when they had we want to take over some of these project buildings, turning them into condos and raising the tax property in those areas wasn't that hard, because it was already surrounded by middle class and upper class areas. So now that becomes an expansion of that area, right?
Case in point, New York City.
Yeah.
Right now,
Harlem.
New York
Have
City,
you been to
you can
Harlem? Have you been to Harlem?
yeah, there's certain parts of Harlem right now that
Yeah.
you can't afford the rent.
No.
And
There's so many
parts of
Caucasians there.
Brooklyn,
There's so many Caucasians. I was like, wait, this is Harlem? I see. The what do you call it? What do you call the theater? Oh,
Apollo Theater.
Apollo Theater. You go
Apollo
in there
Theater.
now.
Yes.
What? There, you barely see a black person in there.
Exactly. And the thing is, they're
And
all,
in Philadelphia,
and there
there's
are
a
a
place
lot of
called
them.
South Street. You know South Street in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Hey, no, condos, okay? Condos.
Listen, I could show you places in New York City, in the outer boroughs,
Yeah.
that once were owned by local people that live in the neighborhood.
Mm.
Now they sold them off,
Yep.
they tore them down,
Mm.
and it's condos. It's all condos now.
Yep.
Everything's condo, condo,
Yep.
condo.
And you know
So the
what they
people
do
can't afford.
too? You know what they do as well is that they mess with the small businessman, right?
Exactly.
They create
Yes.
barriers, and this is the thing is like we have all this resources. It's great to have all those resources. That's great, but if I don't know about them, and then when I try to do access them, you create all these additional barriers for me to, and these hurdles for me to try to get over. What do you think is going to happen eventually? What exactly you want to happen is for the person to return to crime and return to prison system, because we all know that when it comes to prisons, especially, that's a moneymaker. Facts.
I was just going to bring that same, make a scenario on that. You
Facts.
realize
Mhm.
in the black and brown neighborhoods,
Mhm.
all you see, you
Mhm.
either see a Chinese store,
Mhm.
a liquor store.
Mhm.
Those are two main things you see: a Chinese store, a liquor store, and a fruit store.
Wow.
And they're all owned by people that doesn't live in the neighborhood.
Interesting.
But then you got all the people in the neighborhood supporting these establishments. The money is going out of the neighborhood. It's not coming
Right.
back into the neighborhood.
Right. Right.
So that so it leaves the person in the neighborhood to go and steal from you or your neighbor just to make an end meet.
Wow.
And
Mhm.
that's part of the system. That's why there's
Mhm.
so many brown and black people you see in the court system,
In the court system.
in
And
the system, in the court system.
if you look at the levels of crime that is committed by lower income class, it is
Right.
always around the same thing. It is always about drugs
Exactly.
and
Yes.
money. It's always a financial piece,
Money, drug.
whether it's drugs or money,
Exactly.
or and the thing is, when you look at the other crimes, including murder, there's always a financial piece attached to it. Like the person killed a
Attached to it.
person over a drug deal or over some kind of financial
Mon-
thing. There are
yes,
other
trying to
crimes we
steal.
do. I'm not going to say there's other crimes, but there are. But the majority of the crimes are based around financial or lack thereof.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you
Exactly.
have, so the result is that the rich enjoys the advantage of navigating, the legal process, while the poor are left, graveling, with the inadequacy of being represented. And so we've seen it so many times. There's so many television shows about it now, and also articles and essays about the injustice that happens when a person of a social economics level that is lower goes into the court system. You
Court
know,
system.
yeah, even the threat of your family, of your children, becomes part of the piece of the puzzle. You know, there was one case, I think it was in New York actually, where the mom, hi Carolyn, how you doing? Glad you can make it. Yeah. So what happened was, she had a ticket, a speeding ticket, and because I guess she moved, and when the information went to the old address, so she just went to the courthouse to do something. I'm glad you're doing better, hon. Um, you know, went to the courthouse to do something else. It was totally differently. She got arrested, and
Yes,
because
because
she
she had
couldn't get in
probably had an
contact with her,
outstanding warrant for that
yeah,
ticket.
she couldn't get in contact
Yeah.
with her mom or anyone else. Social worker took that baby, and then she had to take years and years to get her kid back. So that wouldn't happen with wealth. First of all,
That
they not
exactly,
even
and
going
this
to the
is and
courthouse. They
that's
go
what
send
I'm
their
talking
lawyers.
about. And something like that could be an easy, simple fix.
Yeah.
Well, I moved. The mail went to the old address. I never got it. The mail.
And you can
You
track
know,
that. That's something you
and
can
you can track
track.
that.
You can track that. And the thing
Like I said,
is now the baby now becomes part of the system as well. And to me,
exactly.
and I was a former
Yep.
foster parent, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a very dirty game. It's all about money. I'm sorry. I mean, there
Hmm.
have some great foster parents out there, but they have that few that really destroy the hearts of those children. And I was very much disgusted about the fact that how much the agency wanted you to spend on the child. It was very, very minimal. And I got in trouble for doing more. Okay. And,
Hmm.
you know, the children that I had, if the parents didn't get better, they would have become ward children. And what ward children are is they belong to the system now, and
The
now
state. Yeah.
they stay in the system. So what I did was I saw the parents in the parking lot one day, and I pulled them over and I had a conversation with them because they were hardworking individuals, but they didn't have a home. And I explained to them how important getting a place was. And I told them what they would need to do, parenting classes or whatever, whatever. And they went ahead and did all that stuff. Within 6 months, they had their children back, and the agency was pissed at me. Okay, pissed.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that you're dealing with, where you have all and a lot of people don't realize that when it comes to the child welfare system, that's a private entity. It's not part of the government. It's private.
Hmm.
And so their objective is not you. I'm sorry. I don't care what they want to say or they want to write it. These are facts. And it's not 100% their fault. Working in government, they all have, it's like, there's a lot of people that, oh, what's happening here? My meeting is ending. Why is my meeting ending? They collect with love. What happened? What is going on? We're gonna have to break and come back in. I'm not sure why it's ending, but anyways, it's ending in 15 minutes. I'm not sure. I've never had that happen before. Um, Colette, did you set it for a 2-hour meeting? Can you up the time, please? Hi Petra, how you doing? So now let's go on to talk about access to resources and information. Because another critical aspect of the justice system and disparity is the unequal access to resources and information. No idea why. Okay, can you up the meeting time for the amount of hours? Because you probably set it for 2 hours or something like that. So can you up it to more hours? Thanks. If you can't, let me know real quick. The wealthy has the financial means to have investigators, gain evidence and conduct some research, as well as build like a defense and an offense as well. The access to resources enhances their chances of getting compelling case when they go to court, versus an individual from a disadvantaged background often lack the financial capacity to conduct through investigations or access even the essential information. So the inequalities not only affects their case, but it hampers also their ability to lessen the influence and the understanding of the legal system and the legal words and the jargon that goes on there. And ultimately, the unequal access of the resources will affect the justice system and how it favors the wealth versus the poor. So what do you think about resources, accessing resources? Because I find that there's a lot of barriers that are put on those resources. What do you feel about that?
Well, listen, resource, if a person goes to court,
Yeah.
and first of all, they're going to have, what do you call it now? A public defender.
Yeah.
That public defender is going to try to steer you. They're not going to go above and beyond. But one or two might do that, but they're going to try to steer you to the quickest way out of your case.
Yeah.
And that's to try to plea bargain you. And I had a friend of mine, I tell him one time, I said, listen, you got a public defender. You didn't commit the crime. Mistaken identity, whatever. But don't let them railroad you into signing nothing.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't sign nothing.
Yes.
If that defender doesn't want to work in your case, ask for another defender.
Yes.
Case in point,
Yeah.
the Central Park 5, years and years ago.
Yeah.
Those 5 kids
Yes,
end
I
up
remember
in
that
jail
case. I remember that
for
case.
something they
Didn't
didn't do.
Yep, they didn't do.
And they kept saying all the time, we didn't do it. And these were young little kids just in the
They were
park
young.
running
I
around
think
playing.
they were I think some were 17 and some
12
were like
and
they were
13,
young.
14. Young kids.
Yeah.
Somebody attacked the lady from behind. The lady didn't know who attacked her. But the kids running around the park, the kids running around the street because they're from the neighborhood. Cops search, pick up 5 guys, lock them up.
They were
The
only
lady didn't
interested
know.
in getting someone, okay?
Someone to, yes, because
Yeah.
the lady was brutally abused. But years gone by now, these guys in jail, they still continue their innocence.
Yeah.
Come to find out, someone on their deathbed, I think he was on his deathbed, I'm not 100% sure, but thank God for DNA testing. The DNA proved that it was this person individual that attacked that lady.
Mm.
Now, what if you would have killed those guys, hang those guys, those little kids? Whatever happened?
Well,
You can't bring their life back.
that brings up a good
You,
a good point, and I'm going to ask you when you finish your statement. I'm going to ask you a question. Go on.
okay. Now, the guys said that they were innocent,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people believed them.
Mm-hmm.
But the social media at the time, the newspapers and individuals say, "Oh, hang them from this tree, do this, do that, do that," and it put a lot of pressure on the detectives and the police to get some closure to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why things happened. They didn't give the police officers time to really investigate this stuff.
Yeah.
They wanted to make an arrest. They arrest these 5 little kids and had them in court. And these kids can't afford the lawyers. The parents
Right.
can't afford no big lawyer. So they have public defender lawyers.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you have a public defender that doesn't willing to do the work to go the mile and a half for you
And I think the
to
parents
prove
said
you're
that
innocent.
the parents said that they didn't understand what was going on, and they agreed to certain
What was going
things.
on?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you got 5 individuals, but you're getting 5 different views from 5 different defenders,
Mm-hmm.
public defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of the problem comes in as well.
Yeah.
And it was just in New York City, it was just a time to get someone to pay the piper, put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
because there were all those rapes happening, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, and they I remember it was the mayor basically saying, we need somebody, we can't let these kids go. They have, it was like the public needs some kind of justice.
Yeah, the public,
Yeah.
yes. And they find these 5 little kids,
Yeah.
and they just grab them and charge them with attempted murder, whatever they charge them back then with.
Mm-hmm.
The lady really suffered. She suffered a lot.
Yeah, she did.
But
yeah.
these kids didn't do it.
She
It
got
wasn't
it
the
back
kids.
too, because a lot of people hated her because
Yeah, because
yeah,
she didn't know who
identified
attacked her
them as the ones that,
as the kids there.
as the persons. Yeah.
And I'm sure, I would swear on my sister and mother's grave, that they coerced her to do that.
They probably
Because she
did.
didn't know.
No,
She didn't know
who it was.
attacked her.
She didn't know who
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
She didn't know who attacked her.
I think she did say that she didn't know, like she had told them that she didn't know or something like that, but they didn't listen to her. There was such.
And they picked up 5 kids and
You know
put it up
what's so
there.
sad?
Like,
Yeah, they know what's so sad. There was actually a documentary that one of them made, but he never finished it because he died before he finished it. I think
Before
he
he
committed
finished.
suicide. Yeah.
now one of those same individual kids
Mm-hmm.
is a senator, a city representative.
Yeah.
He's a politician right now.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Right
amazing.
here in New York City. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. One of the same kids.
See, and that's that. And then when it comes to resources too, is again is knowing that they are resources. Some people just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be mindful of the fact that they are immigrants that have come to this country, and some things that are illegal here are not illegal in their country. They probably don't know the system, and
They
end
don't know
up
the system.
caught up in the system, and not one having a translator if they get one.
That too.
To understand
But
the
then
severity of the law, and 3, like actual getting proper justice and representation. So there's so much different things, so many different kind of resources. Even the aftermath, like let's say you do go to jail, wealthy or lower income, and you come out, the different kind of paths of how people return to their their wealth, or return to, or don't have to go to a halfway home for the amount of length as a person that is lower income, who has to have to be there a certain time. I saw one person, we were named Lane, had a limo pick them up from the damn jail to take them to the halfway house. I say, you didn't do a limousine take you to halfway home. You take a bus. It was
Another
just
thing
a little
too,
bit ridiculous,
like kids come to this country
Yes.
and they see all the gold and glitter, the lights, and
Yes.
and they leave like let's say you come from a third world Caribbean island or some Central or South America, and you see the glitter of New York, like, wow, this is big. This is a strange area, but you get peer pressure is part of the problem also.
Yes.
Because you get these kids and they join with the wrong people, and next
But
thing you know, they're getting in trouble. They're stealing from this person
that
or
peer
trying to
pressure,
rob their friend.
Rudy, wouldn't you say that peer pressure comes from society in itself? Because look at the amount of glam that we put out there, especially in social media and different places like that, where we put the importance on these things, on having things and stuff. The more things and stuff that we have, the more valuable we feel, the more powerful we feel. And so, no longer are the family members or different things or even education becoming important. Nothing against influencers now, but that's the main career choice right now.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, everybody can't be an influencer. Okay, some people are great at it.
Some people. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that came to this country and make good for themselves.
Of course, yes.
And then you have some individuals that just, like you said, social media and times has changed. And the social media screw up this entire world. I keep telling people that.
Is it social media though, or is it capitalism?
Social media. We always had capitalism.
We always have capitalism because we keep buying into it.
Always had that.
If we don't buy into capitalism,
but social media
there won't be that.
Causes a problem because now, okay, for instance, you're going to school. You got to figure out a question. All you got to do, take your phone and Google it. Now, you're not using your brain to figure out the question. Computers doing that for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's the way the kids today don't really learn unless their parents are pushing them.
Yes.
Everything they want to Google. Okay, how you spell that word? Try to break it down in syllables and spell the word. That's how we learn as kids growing up.
Everything is fast, quick. Let's make money. That's why.
Exactly. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
As they say, majority kids no longer care about how that light switch works. They just want to make sure they'll walk in a room and they'll flick that light switch. If it don't turn on, they'll flick. And then it's not working.
Look at the telephone.
Yeah.
A rotary phone. You show a kid now what's that? Yeah. What is that? You got to hit the 0. It goes all the way around, comes back. It takes you 10 minutes to dial a number. Now you go boop, boop, and dial a number. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So social media, technology, all these things are what screw part of society up.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to take the time now to do the work.
Oh.
And that all trickles down to the justice system as well.
It does trickle down to the justice system as well.
You don't want to do the work, we'll make you do the work in jail. Simple as that.
Well, I don't even think it's about doing the work in jail. I think that is a way of them making money off of people that can.
Jail is a big business. That's a big business.
It's $1 billion business. Okay.
In the industry.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break so I can reset this button. I'm not sure why it's doing that, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay where you are, and I'll be right back with you.
I'm Lou Ragoose.
Open the meeting. Open the meeting.
Yeah. There was no timer. I don't know if Microsoft has like
Yeah.
a certain limit, I don't know, of using your stuff.
Okay. Did you open the meeting?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a new one. Or you want to use the same
The
link?
same one. Same one. Let's go.
Okay, let me. Okay, I'll send it here. Or look at it.
I did.
You see it?
I did. I opened it.
Okay.
The same old one, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you from somewhere. I guess you're on. Oh, you think you're on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you clicked it?
Mhm.
Okay. It should be coming on.
Okay, I'm just gonna start something else.
Why did you do this? I hear it, but I don't see you.
Okay. Well. That was a cluster, you know what? We're going to try to get Rudy back in the room. Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what happened there and why they happened, what they happened. I'm going to send him a quick link to Collect with Love, and she can get Rudy back in here so that we can continue the show. Okay, 1 second. This is what you call live. All right, so where were we? Okay. There we go. All right, so the impact on the legal system is the next. 1 second. Okay, good. The impact on the legal outcomes is the next topic. I was trying to press buttons, so you're gonna see hot pleasures. You're gonna see Collect with Love. You're gonna see all kinds of stuff. I was trying to find a button, and I couldn't find a button. So sorry about that, everybody. Anyhow, back to the show. We're talking about the blue crime versus white crime, and the impacts that they have. And is it fair? Is there any kind of inequality when it comes, and is there equity when it comes to, and how does equity affect blue collar versus white collar crime? Okay. So the disparity within the justice system impacts the outcome of the legal proceedings. There has been some research that's been put into place, about the limited financial means that are likely to receive, like lower income individuals are likely to receive harsher sentences. And we've seen that, as we just talked about with Rudy. The disparities, there's always a discrepancy, not only that undermines the principle of the inequalities, but also it's a cycle of the disadvantage and how they already have are already marginalized, and that's the part that we don't really focus on when it comes to in the courtroom action. The financial burden imposed by the legal fees and fines also affects the poor, as well as they're often pushed deeper into the system and into economic hardships. So the consequence at the end of the day is that the justice system on equal outcomes, they contribute to the broader cycle of poverty and the lack of opportunity. And that, okay, I'm just going to read some of these notes that I have up here. What's happening? Oh, Colette is saying that she's getting Rudy. What do you guys in chat? What do you guys think about the justice system? Do you think that there's any fairness between the rich and poor, blue collar versus white collar? Have you have any experiences, or do you know of any cases where you can see that it was complete injustice? You know, let's talk a little bit about Trump. I'm not going to go too much into Trump because I'm just so over that subject right now. You know, there's two sides to every story, or three sides, some people say, to every story. And, you know, Rudy's ready. Okay, good. I'm glad he's ready. Get him in here. So, you know, you could say one thing in that he hasn't been allowed a lot of things that we would not be allowed. And then there's the other piece that also says, section of society that says that he's being unfairly picked upon. So, not sure which side you're on, but is he being picked upon because he's wealthy, or has he been able to get away with certain things because he is wealthy? What do you think about that? What do you think about Trump? Drop it in the chat. The next thing we're going to talk about is reform and redress. Basically, you know, should we redesign the justice system, or just kind of adjust it and see what needs to be done? You know, addressing the rich versus poor divides the justice system. It's a demand for comprehensive reform and redress. To begin with, the measure should be, you know, implicated ensuring that what Rudy is waiting to be entered. I don't see. Did you? Okay, I sent you a link in your email. You're gonna have to go to your email, Colette with love, and send that over to Rudy for me, because I'm not able to do that right now. Let me do it again. I'll send the link again. There's the link. Okay. I sent you a link for him. It's a new link. I just started it up because I wanted to get going here. Yeah. So again, I'm just reading some messages. Rudy's going to end up hitting us up in the chat if we don't get him back in here. Now, community engagement and awareness. That's the part where I am very much, you know, I'm very much of an advocate for human trafficking, as well as sex workers and domestic violence. But I am very much about equity, and the community engagement and awareness plays a very important part in the disparity within and pinpointing those disparities within the justice system. It is crucial to make sure that we understand that the public needs to have more dialogue about the consequences of the unequal access to the justice, and the impact that it has on the individual as well as society as a whole. Advocacy for policy change, public education about legal rights, and the promotion of the pro bono legal services can help bridge the gap between the rich and the poor in the realms of justice. By encouraging a collective action, for example, society can work towards a more equitable and just system. So do you believe that? Do you believe that we have more of a policy change that it will allow us to I don't see Rudy coming back in here. I don't know what's happening with that. It seems like he's gone. Let me just try doing this live and hope to God I don't make a mess of everything. Okay. Nope, that's not right. I've given you the link. I'm not sure Colette, that's as much as I can do right now. I don't know what else I can do. So, I guess he will have to join me in chat, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna go on. So, what do you think the disparities, within the justice system between rich and the poor, undermine the core principles of the fairness and the equality that underpins us in society as a whole? So, unequal legal representation we talked about the limited access to resources, we talked about the legal outcome, as well as the division that is created between the rich and poor. So what is your input? What do you think? Tell me, what you think we can do to make things better, between that when you go into a courtroom, or something happens and you end up behind within the justice system, that your rights are respected as though you have $1 billion in your pocket. Should there be a difference? Is there a different responsibility between the rich and the poor that we don't know about? And how will having a person of wealth behind bars affect society? Does it create change? Those are some of the questions that we can also ask ourselves. So how do we create change, and how do we advocate for change? That's something that we can go to our policymakers and have that conversation with. So tonight's episode, we had Rudy in here. Not sure what happened. We got kicked out. The meeting decided that it was going to end. Was trying to get Rudy back in. Not sure where he went. Actually, I'm going to call him up live on the show here. Rudy, so he can just say goodbye. Hey Rudy, I am not sure what happened.
I could not get into you guys. I'm holding on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but we tried to get you back in here, and I'm not sure I sent the link via email. I don't know if you received the new link. Were you clicking?
Everything.
Were you clicking on the new link?
Yeah, I was clicking on the new link. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to send it to you right here on the WhatsApps, and so that you can say goodbye to everyone. I thank you so much for coming tonight and for being part of the show. You had a really good insight as to things that do happen in a society when it comes to the unfairness in the justice system. I just want to have a little bit more of your input. Any kind of last words you wanted to share. I'm going to send you.
I'm going to go into the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I'm going to also send it to you. See if you can get into this link right now. If not, then I'll see you in the YouTube chat. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So yeah. So Rudy's going to come into the YouTube chat and finish off the visit here, the meeting, and technical crap happens. My son, the amazing person that he is, built me a computer, and a lot of this stuff is going to end with Barnett. Oh, there he is! Yay! It worked. Okay, I am not that bad with. Well, maybe it worked. I'm not sure what happened with my screen now. Oh dear. Oh, there we are. Okay. Well, let's get me pinned back up here. Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know what happened. It was like 1 minute we were fine, the next minute we're not so fine, and I'm having to do a lot of navigational stuff here. But whatever, It happens. It is what it is. But yeah, so any last words, Rudy?
Uh besides the technical difficulties, no.
Yeah.
Just only last words I have to say is that the young people out there has to make sure that they follow the rules, man. I mean,
Hmm.
try to set up the system. The system is not geared for us.
Hmm.
It's only geared for the privilege, and we need to take focus better
Yeah.
on life ahead of
And not only
because
that, know your
this is a
rights.
big business.
Yeah.
Prison system is a big business,
It's a big,
and the only people you
huge.
see in prison is black and brown people.
Yeah. Well, you see other colors there too now, but they're normally poor, right?
And the poor well,
Yeah. And I mean,
we ain't rich.
hey, I feel, for me, I think that we, all of us, whether rich or poor, should know our rights and not sign off on anything. I know it's a very scary situation where you have a police officer in your face telling you did something, and if you don't sign this, it's gonna be worse for you when you get to court. Know your rights. There are a lot of different organizations out there that are there for the individual. You can reach out to them for legal advice and also maybe to help getting a lawyer. Don't be a little bit
Don't
more.
sign nothing.
Yeah, don't
If
sign
you know
anything
you're
you don't
innocent,
understand.
don't sign anything.
Yeah, why? And this is the part. You don't understand it. They're explaining it to you. You still don't understand it. You have a right for legal counsel, and you also have a right for that phone call. Maybe don't call your parent or call your friend who can't really do
Hmm.
anything for you. Maybe call an agency that does advocate for individuals who have committed crimes. With that, I thank you, Rudy. Let's play a little game. I still have that book because all y'all, I don't know what you guys were doing last week. I still have, Survive Then Thrive by Peggy Unlock. It's a autograph piece. Um, so it's personally autographed by her. Uh, so let's see. Let's get someone for the chat to win this book tonight. So we talked about one particular case in New York. Um, can you tell me anything that happened in that case? A case where some boys were wrongfully imprisoned because they did were accused of doing what? What were the kids in the park accused of doing? And if you don't know that answer, Google it. And if you can just drop that in the chat right now, you'll win this book. The book is amazing. It's a good mental health. Has to do with PTSD and how to manage your PTSD and other ways of managing your mental health and living with it, embracing it. So, anyone, Petra, Carolyn, Baby Eiffel, anyone, there's a couple of people in there. If you know the answer to that question, drop it in the chat. If not, I want to give it to the next group. Another question. So, I'm going to give them 2 seconds to respond. Anyone? Okay. Well, that's that. Yeah. So the answer is they were accused of rape as well as violence that almost causing death and disfigurement as well. So yeah, and they were in prison. They were what did they call them? They called them the
Central Park 5.
Central Park 5. That's what they called them, Central Park 5. And you could look on Netflix. There is a documentary about them on there, or if you want to just stream them on the internet, look it up. It's a pretty interesting case about unfairity and the fairness within rich versus poor, and how that would have happened differently if those boys were from a different neighborhood. Facts. Okay, so we have a lot of technical issues in this particular episode. I hope you do still check it out on YouTube. I am here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And check me out on Instagram. I'm gonna have I'm gonna drink my 19 crimes and
Hmm.
forget about all these technical issues. Rudy, oh,
Hmm.
baby face Eiffel says Biden and Trump. Biden and Trump. What do you mean Biden and Trump? Explain that. They both wealthy. Oh, you're talking about Trump's Biden's son. Oh, did you see that yesterday, Rudy?
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
Ah, listen, a lot of people in this country, I mean, there's people all over have what do you call it, drug addicts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I know he went through a lot by losing his siblings and stuff at an early age. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
So, you know, I can understand his plight, but there's more people out there that put false information on
Hmm.
a gun registry, a gun application.
Yes, that's true.
You know, and nothing happens to them.
Yeah.
But this is all, I wouldn't say it's political, because
Hmm.
then people are going to say, oh, well, you prosecute Donald Trump. That's political too. That's not political too. Donald Trump been a criminal all his life,
You know
and he's
what?
been getting away with it.
You know what I heard one person say about Donald Trump, and Bibi Eiffel says it wrecks society too ambiguous. That's true. One person said to me that the only reason that Trump ran for president is because he knew that he had done a whole bunch of crime, and if he become president, they can't touch him.
Exactly. And that's
Yes.
why he's trying to get back in there again so
Yeah,
they
he's
can't
like
touch him.
when
He
that
know he's
crime came
guilty.
up, he was like, I got to become president again.
Hillary,
But you know what?
New Yorkers,
Let me tell you
sorry to cut you
something.
off.
You can't
Go
you
ahead.
can't bl- I can't blame him 100%. I'll tell you why. Society has set it up that way where, you know, as long as you have money, you got power. That's how the North American society especially is set up. And, you know, and what has happened is we put so much value on wealth and on that status that we tend to have blinders on for things that they do. And so we
Hmm.
excuse behavior very easily. But when we look at mental health within the society, mental health is treated even differently when the person has $1 billion in their bank account. Okay, so let's call a spade and realize that we as a society and our governments have not addressed mental health on a level it needs to be addressed on, and that a lot of things have happened because paper, which is paper by the way, the dollar, money is paper.
Hmm.
We put so much value into that paper versus people. Okay, that's facts.
But listen, New Yorkers knows all about Donald Trump. People outside of New York and this area, they don't really know
Oh,
about Donald Trump.
listen, everybody know about Donald Trump and his
Now
bankruptcies and
you
all
do,
that.
but I'm
No,
talking
from
about
from back in the
before he ran
day,
for president.
we got Trump Tower here, we got Trump Plaza here. Listen, they,
He
everybody
don't
doesn't know
own the
he
place.
went through like what, six
He put his
bankruptcies.
name on them. He put his name on them.
No,
Look at the ones in New
he
York
rents his
City.
name. Listen, that man rents his name out. He don't own no buildings. Only a few buildings
That's
he
what I'm saying.
owns. Yeah, but I think it's like two or three buildings, and the other ones are all rented names. He's smart.
Yeah, he swindled a lot of people.
He does swindle a lot of people, but again, he's allowed to get away with it because of that status,
The
right?
privilege he has.
The privilege that he
Yes.
has, and this is the point where we have to really look at the system and really look at the crime and see does the crime the punishment fit the crime. We have to start looking at that and being fair, and that is the
Well, we're
problem.
gonna see what happens because
You're gonna see
he's
what
a criminal
happens.
now, so he has a criminal record. So let's see
Well,
what
let's see
happens.
what happens. A criminal record for a wealthy person like that, I don't know how that works. But we'll see. Anyways, that is the end of the show. Again, thank you so much. Check me out on Instagram. You can check out my personal page on Facebook, as well as I'm always here on YouTube. You can watch the show after, rewind, ignore the technical issues. Again, Rudy, thank you so much for coming through. Collect with love. Thank you so much for helping me out. Poor I felt bad. She did a great
You're
job. I'm
welcome.
so sorry. You know, Yeah, all the links are in the description as well. And I want a special thank to Baby Eiffel Samuel, who actually has some input tonight, today. He is a DJ in Guyana doing his thing. He wanted to be here tonight, but he had a gig. Thank you so much for your input and insight today. And then I want to thank Petra as well as Carolyn, and all those are in the chat. Thank you so much for coming through, and we will see you next Wednesday on Embrace Your Edges at 8 p.m. weekdays. Bye. Bye, Rudy.
Bye. See you later.
Okay, ciao.